Greetings everyone, peace to you all. Welcome to another episode of Praiseworthy Reviews, where we go through video games to see if they are excellent and commendable. Today we will be reviewing Dave the Diver, the casual action-adventure management game by developer Mint Rocket. As usual, we will be evaluating the game based on 5 criteria: fun factor, educational value, cultural value, spiritual value, and cost. So without further ado, let's jump in. The gameplay in Dave the Diver has a kind of rhythm. The rhythm goes something like this. Dive in the morning. Introduce a new minigame. Dive in the afternoon. Sushi restaurant in the evening. Dive in the morning. Introduce a new minigame. Dive in the afternoon. Sushi restaurant in the evening. Diving consists of Dave exploring a mysterious procedurally generated body of water named the Blue Hole. While it is procedurally generated, some elements of the game are predictable. Certain types of fish appear at certain depths, and certain locations, like the sunken ship, tend to appear in the same general area relative to the boat you start from. The procedural generation is a good balance of keeping things fresh and interesting without making the spawning of certain fish or locations frustrating. When you dive, you can hunt for fish for your restaurant, pick up materials and treasure to sell or upgrade, and progress the story. Without spoiling any of the narrative, there is definitely a specific narrative to advance, even as you continue to experience the rhythm of diving and sushi. The sushi restaurant gameplay consists of selecting your menu, researching new recipes, managing your staff, and of course, serving customers. Then there are larger rhythmic cycles to keep the gameplay interesting, with food festival events, VIPs, and weekly fish to catch. Beyond this, the game is constantly introducing small and large minigames, some of which are optional but others which are integrated into the main story. I would discuss the gameplay elements of the minigames, but honestly, the introduction of many of them feel like spoilers, so I won't go into most of them specifically. Rest assured, however, that there are many mini-games throughout the game. Even in the final moments of the game, new mini-games or gameplay types are being introduced. Overall, I'm going to give Dave the Diver 5 stars for fun factor, primarily for its ability to keep you hooked on the main gameplay elements while still keeping things fresh. Both puns intended. Dave the Diver is one of the most action-packed games when it comes to educational value. On the motor skill side of things, the game is not difficult. When harpooning, the game introduces a variety of button presses, holds, and joystick movements, but overall it is pretty relaxed. Failure is not a big deal. Cognitively, however, the game has a lot of value to provide. You could technically learn a few things about running a restaurant from the sim management aspects of the game, but honestly I don't think that counts. The restaurant gameplay also shows realistic and unrealistic sushi dishes, especially ones made from more traditional ingredients like tuna, octopus, cuttlefish, and shrimp. The cooking minigames can teach you, at least conceptually, how certain dishes need to be prepared. The big educational win of the game, however, is in the fish. The game does a good job of accurately portraying real sea creatures in-game. In fact, most of the fish in the game are real, with the exception of the obviously fantastic ones like the teleporting jellyfish with a wizard hat. Some of the loading screens even provide factual knowledge about aquatic life for the player to learn. Overall, I'm going to give the game 5 stars for educational value because this is honestly approaching the upper limits of what you can learn from a video game that is not directly a serious educational game. The art style of this game is quite unique. The game does a good job of mixing 2D pixel art, 3D pixel art, as well as some elements that are not pixel art, like the water. This creates a unique visual aesthetic that is both nostalgic and modern. In particular, the pixel art cutscene animations are fantastic, enough that you want to watch them multiple times. The ambient music for diving is relaxing and doesn't get old. Each area of the Blue Hole has its own music that helps develop the mood of the region. It is the cutscene music, however, that gives the game its spunky charm.
Yeah, I bet me doing it. I bet me doing it. I bet me doing it. I bet me
The narrative is rather simple and doesn't try to do anything fancy, but it is serviceable. While there are no plot twists or shocking reveals, the narrative does a good job of keeping you engaged and introducing new elements of gameplay in ways that make sense. Dave the Diver was only released last year in 2023, but it is already making a splash. It was nominated as Best Indie Game for both the Golden Joystick Awards and the Game Awards, which generated some controversy, since Mint Rocket is not really an indie studio, but is owned by Nexon. It even won the Sit Back and Relax Award from the Steam Awards. As of January 2024, the game had sold over 3 million copies, and I predict that this number may increase significantly with the PlayStation release this month. Overall, I'm going to assign 5 stars for its cultural value. There is limited negative content in this game. It is appropriate for almost all children who can read and count. There is no bad language, no nudity or sexual content. They do drink alcohol, but it's a restaurant. They drink beer and cocktails. There is some mild gambling in terms of skill-based games. There is very little person-to-person combat in the game. Almost all the combat is basically hunting fish or killing giant monstrous versions of sea fish and sea creatures. For positive content, the beauty of nature and environmental protection are heavily promoted. Despite being a casual game mostly focused on gameplay, what narrative the game does have contains many positive themes. For more information on what those themes may be, consider watching my biblical themes video on Dave the Diver. Overall, I'm going to give Dave 5 stars for spiritual value because it's honestly one of the few games you can give to your kids and not really be worried about the elements they encounter. The game contains a lot of replay value for the time rich. Even after you finish the main narrative, you can continue to hunt rare sea creatures or attempt to achieve certain levels of social media fame for your restaurant. For the time poor, experiencing most of what the game has to offer and completing the main narrative can be done in about 30 hours. Retailing at $19.99 USD, I find the game to be a fantastic value, especially when I purchased the game at 25% off. Overall, based on the content value, narrative accessibility, and asking price, I'm going to give Dave 5 stars for cost. Dave the Diver is an original, hilarious video game that attracts hardcore and casual gamers alike. While the core gameplay loop is simple and the gameplay elements familiar, Mint Rocket does an excellent job at combining the elements at a comfortable rhythm that creates a truly memorable experience. Based on full ratings for all criteria discussed in the video, I subjectively assign Dave the Diver the rating of priority purchase. That's all I have for you in this video. Bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this video blessed you in some way, please consider watching some of my other videos, subscribing, or sharing with me some of your thoughts in the comments below.